does that say test run? Because that's not what this is supposed to say. This is not test run. This is our first episode. See, this is why I got on here early. Let's see. Settings. Light. No. See, this is why I wanted to get on a few minutes early. Paste. Paste. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. May not be able to do it while I'm on live. This is not a test run. This is the actual. Let's see. This is not test run, you gooberhead. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hopefully that wasn't too loud in y'all's ear. I may just move this up anyways if y'all see the mic. I'm sorry. Okay. Excuse the noise, y'all. Okay. Okay, settings, edit settings. Jeez. Paste. Paste. I can't do it. Not for that one. Enter the game. There's no game. Okay, that one I don't care about. Let's see. Edit settings. Create new event post. This is ridiculous. Paste category. Let's do shows. Okay. We are. See, this is why I got on a few minutes early, so I could just test everything out. Because it has not been very cooperative, especially for Instagram. See, like I should be live right now on Instagram, and it's not. Which is super annoying. But let's make sure the titles are clean. That's the important thing. Is if I have my... See, that's not supposed to say test run. This is not a test run. Let's swap and see if I can change it in here. Okay. We're live. Yeah, that is not... Edit. This is not a test run. Let's see. Episode 1. Show introduction. That means I need to go check YouTube. I mean, I can always go in and edit, but I still have a few minutes.
Daddy,
What?
what's dinner?
It'll be after the show. I'm gonna make you some fish sticks. Let's see. Yeah, see, it didn't change it for YouTube. That's just so ridiculous. Not a- Yeah, it's okay. 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 Let's see. Couple minutes. Well, hey, don't care about you. Okay. 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 Then go to Facebook. Just want that a little bit wider. Okay. And if you can hear the banging around, let me know. Or if you watch it after we do our live stream and you hear the typing and banging around, let me know because I'll have to. I hear it all in my headset, but I don't know if it's actually coming through. Madison. Madison, you're going to have to be quiet. Unless you want to come co-host with me, which means you need to go get a shirt on. You need to get some clothes on if you want to come co-host. Let's see. All right, all right, all right. Got my coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Let's We're gonna go back. We're gonna come onto this. I was gonna say what? Rip Curl. I'm not sponsored by Rip Curl, but that's the. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so it looks good. Let's see what the captions are looking like. So there is going to be a small delay. I'm hooked up to my home internet, which is stretched out across the whole house. And let me get this thing started. Bam, 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 and bam. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is the launch of our new talk show where we break down surfing competitions, the surf industry, the lifestyle that comes with it. Over the next few months, we're going to cover everything from the basic rules of surfing to what it's really like behind the scenes in the surf industry. We're also going to talk about training, family life, homeschooling surfers, and the sacrifices that come with raising surfers. And occasionally, we'll be live streaming surf competitions on the weekend, which will be, right now, we are attached to ESA Central Division, and that's who we'll be live streaming for. We have openings for anybody else that wants to jump on in with us and allow us to come live stream as long as it's not conflicting with our schedule right now. And I'm going to break down that first few sentences for you guys. So we're not going to hit heavy on the rules. It's just going to be basic. Long term, we're gonna break everything down. We're gonna talk about what it's like being a surf family, what it's like homeschooling our kid, and other parents and what they deal with, and just the day-to-day life for us as a family having surfers in the family, that it really isn't your traditional go to school, come home, go surf, where we go surf, do school, then go surf and train. And we're going to dive into a whole plethora of things. The workouts, the eating regimens, everything that we personally go through and do, that's what we're going to share with you. Plus, I'm not going to give it away, a lot of hot topics when it comes to what it's like trying to dive into the surf industry as a business and as a surfer and as a parent to a surfer. That comes with its whole strings of fun times. And before we push further with that, I'm going to introduce who I am. I'm going to talk about my background, what got me started with the surf industry itself, and then surfing, and just kind of let you get a sneak peek, so you know who it is that you're listening to, buying from, and then seeing on the beach at surf competitions. A little about me. I am prior military. I went in 2005. I got out in 2008. Did one tour all the way through. It's been broken into two because we were there for so long. I was there from 2006 to 2008, and then I got out. That's a different topic and a different discussion. Besides that, I did a lot of oil field work. I was trucking, cross country trucking, oil field trucking, you name it, I did it when it came to driving trucks. I did a lot of search and rescue, private security, high end stuff. I jumped in the private security and search and rescue with Hurricane Harvey. I was able to go down there and find people, save people, and really focus on what I love to do, and that's serving people. Those careers, they teach you discipline, awareness, responsibility, and believe it or not, some of those same lessons apply directly to surfing. The ocean demands your respect. It doesn't ask for it, it demands it. And you have to be aware of your surrounding and what's going on, just like any serious environment. Surfing is fun, it's laid back, it's chill, it's a lifestyle. But if you're not aware of what's going on, you can get hurt and hurt other people pretty badly. I've built several businesses. I've helped run several businesses. I actually have a degree. I have a Bachelor of Science in Paralegal Studies with a minor in psychology. When I first started college is when I got out of the Army. I wasn't mature enough and I wasn't ready for it. All I did was party. When I first got into college, I actually was going to do coaching and teaching. I was really well diverse in sports, was actually on my way to play college ball, but life had different plans. The Lord had different plans. Ended up leaving the school I was at and then transferring to a massive high school where nobody knew me. And so all of that caused, my sports to kind of get pushed to the side because I was the new kid on the block, and that's what forced me to go into the Army. Just like with sports, just like with college, understanding rules and understanding people both play a big role in surfing and in the competition environments. I'm a family man. Me and my wife have been married 15 years, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even be in the situation that I'm in right now. We moved from Texas, oh gosh, I want to say, 4 years ago almost now? So we've been in Florida almost 4 years. We have two children, one's 15 and one is 16, and one is 5, fixing to turn 6. We actually moved here from right outside of Fort Worth, a small town called Burleson, Texas, where I was pretty heavily involved with the politics there, was on some boards and committees, ran for city council, was doing stuff, was advocating for veterans and, the disabled community, the special needs community. And when we moved here, it was to get away from all that. So if you have any grandeur ideas of getting me pulled back in, it's not going to happen. The funny thing with that is we moved to Indian Harbor from Texas. We actually were trying to move to Palm Coast. That didn't work out. We came down here, and now we actually live in the Cape Canaveral. And I've actually sat down with Cape Canaveral city manager and discussed things. And the guy, he is a stand-up dude, really good guy, has a good vision. But just like most government entities, they are very slow to get back to you, and I don't play that game anymore. So I did actually show some. What's up, dude? I'm so glad that you can join, Lanny. Your story's awesome. I hope you're still doing good. Um, Please excuse the rough patch of our first episode show. It's just an introduction. We're for the next 45 minutes going to talk about who I am, what I'm about, what to expect. For the first 48 episodes, and just small talk. Get everybody comfortable so they can hear and see what I'm about and who I am. But I moved when we moved here later last year, sorry. I went in and spoke with city council, or sorry, the city manager here, and showed some interest because here it's needed. There's yeah, it's desperately needed for people to step up. But the flip side of that is if you don't actually engage in a timely manner, people are just going to turn around and walk away. And honestly, I wanted to help out here. It's really been pulling at my strings, but all the things that I went through personally back in my hometown, in my home state, really opened my eyes to what's important, my family. And I will never, ever again put a business, anything I'm attached to. I don't care if it's, you know, I'm donating my time or what have you. My family will never be put second ever again. And sometimes the Lord's got to smack you really, really, really hard for you to get that. No job, no money, nothing will ever come before them again. And that's actually why we're here. My wife had saw how different I am and how more at peace I am back near the ocean. And God bless her for agreeing to come down here. Without her, none of this is possible. A little bit more about me. I am a child of the system. I am adopted. Originally born in Las Vegas, Nevada. Moved to Texas. Well, actually, we moved to Oklahoma, then moved to Texas. My adopted mother, as people keep trying to say, my mother actually was born and raised in Texas, and that was home for her. So that became my home. I grew up in Texas. Texas is all I knew. It's tattooed across my back. Shipped off to the Army, went to Hawaii, fell in love with Hawaii. Hawaii made me, shaped me, molded me. If I could still be there, I would, but then I wouldn't have my family. But Florida, it's not Hawaii, or it's not the Hawaii I remember, but I'll take it. Let's see, what else? If anybody jumps on and has personal questions, this is kind of what this first episode is. I'm going to touch on some other topics, but it's to get to know me a little bit. I've done a lot of community service work, homeless outreaching, with my private security that I did. I did a lot of tactical training, did stuff for churches, quickly got out of that. And again, that's a whole different ball game, different story. I've done talk shows before, well, podcast. Let's see. I'd say when they first really started making a push on Facebook, I want to say 2015, somewhere in that ballpark. I know they were doing stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, but I actually hosted my own show where we talked about politics, just anything under the sun and moon. And then I actually co-hosted with a couple of other great dudes. Some of it was cryptozoology, which I just got there because I was the man that would voice a different opinion. I don't think there's Bigfoot. I don't believe in none of that stuff. The Wolf Man, whatever. But it was fun to be on there because I brought a philosophical, biblical viewpoint on all that stuff. And plus, I knew the hosts. They were great dudes. We never fought. So it was just a blast to be a part of. Other than that, I've done everything under the sun. Trading stocks, cryptocurrencies, Forex trading. I had all my fingers in pretty much everything. In my free time, I study law. I have no desire to actually go and practice law and get my law degree. At one point I did. So you know, the main purpose for this show, and the reason why the show exists, one of the reasons is I started this was because I saw a lot of new surfers entering into this sport without really learning the fundamentals. There's a lot of surf schools around here, especially in our area, and I'm just going to be point blank. This show is never going to give it to you soft. I'm going to give it to you raw and the truth. Now, I'm going to be kind about it, but there's a lot of surf schools around here that don't teach that. They're there to make a buck. But let me say this though, there are a lot of amazing surf schools in our area. Great people, great surfers, have the surf culture in their heart, and that's all they are. But there are a select few, and it's across the country. They don't teach etiquette. They don't. They're there for the tourists to make a quick buck, get them on the wave, let them have fun, and then go home. They really don't break down the safety of surfing, the fundamentals. They get you on a board, they push you. This is how you stand up. Boom, boom, boom. Because most of their customers that they cater to are not actual people that surf and want to surf consistently. Ask me how I know. Everybody knows this sport's amazing. There's this will change your life. It's one of the few sports out here that if you jump in 100%, it's going to give you 1,000% back. It's going to change how you see the ocean. It's going to change how you relate to people. It's just going to calm you down. It's amazing to be a part of. But again, you gotta know the rules. You gotta know the etiquette. You gotta know the culture. And there is a surf culture, a good surf culture and a bad surf culture. Each county, each state, each country, even within the country, like America, you've got the West Coast surfers, you got the East Coast surfers. Then you have those crazy fools up north that surf that cold stuff. And then you've got actually the Gulf surfers. I didn't realize we had surfers in Texas. It's crazy to me because when you go to the Gulf, you don't expect surfing, but they're there. And if you don't know those things, that throws a kink into surfing. And there's a huge kink in surfing right now between the loss of etiquette, the loss of the culture, the overtaking from major corporations, and they're not considered major corporations, but they are considered major brands. Those are two different things. If you know business and business culture and the dynamics of business, you will understand what I'm saying. I don't want to throw names out there because if I throw a name and say I'm really not saying they are, then people are going to take it as they are. And we're not going to do that. So, hey, I'm sorry, dude. Y'all are different up there. It's a different breed of surfer to go surf freaking ice water and ice and snow and negative degree water. Like, I don't know if that's crazy or your cojones are big. So one of the two. But the show, and then I noticed there's so many surf competitions and nobody is live streaming these competitions. Nobody's helping these kids get their face out there. It's crazy to me. You only see the Olympics now, and then there are a handful of major surfy competition series events. We know who they are. That they broadcast it, but it's typically like if they're in Indonesia or Hawaii or somewhere far off and it's super late at night. What I want to do is I want to be able to present a small town, home feel, pure culture, all of the above to the public. Because little Johnny out there surfing for the first time in his very first surf competition, and little Johnny's dad, who's having to work, let's just say, in Boston or Ohio or Pennsylvania, and we've got a surf competition down here at Paradise, he can now watch. Why nobody's done this down here, I don't know. It took a little bit of money and some heart. And making it happen. So, and then I want to give an insight on us as a family, what we go through, what we're sacrificing, what my wife sacrifices, what I sacrifice, my son, my daughter, and the things that we have to do to make this work. Is it an inside scoop? Kind of, but it's all the above. And the show, we want to break down not just the fundamentals for beginners, but I want people to understand a few things. How we make this sport what it used to be while continuing to move forward. Because you can't stop time, you can't stop progression. However, just like we've seen in the NFL, NBA, now baseball's coming around, but we see it in track, we see it in all the sports, snowboarding. I don't really watch much skateboarding, but I'm pretty sure eventually you're going to get that change in there too, where you have a mixture of political ideologies, people who want to cater to everybody so they can do the sport, which comes at a cost at surfing. Not everybody should surf. I'm just going to say it. In the sense of surfing competitions, going to places you shouldn't be surfing. If you want to learn how to surf and accept the surf culture as it is, then fine. But I see it every day, and I'm new to surfing. Just because I lived in Hawaii, I didn't surf in Hawaii. I was a young kid in the Army doing my thing. Now, I'm an ocean boy. Love spearfishing. Went up to North Shore, played in that stuff, which I didn't even realize what I was doing. I'm a crazy. I look back at it now, and I'm like, you're nuts. But it's like when you go to another country, and I'm gonna call this out as Americans. I'm not bad about it. I learned from a very young age. You go somewhere, while you can have in my case, my biblical views and what I'm gonna hold steadfast to. I don't go to another country and expect them to change for me. Americans are bad about that. You go to that country, you want them to speak your language, you want them to cater to your style because you're used to it back at home because you never leave. And the one time you do leave, you bring your drama with you. Surf culture is the same way. When I jumped into surfing, I knew I'm not stupid. For people, this is their life. This is what defines who they are. It's getting that. It will never define who we are as a family, for me or my daughter, because that's not all we are. But it's a huge part of who we are. It's not who we are, it's part of who we are. However, for some individuals and for major people in this industry, I don't even want to say industry because surf is different than the industry side. Surfing in itself is a culture. And that's what I want to bring to you. The bigger we get, the more people that jump on board, the more sponsors I can get, because I'm a one-man show right now. We're going to be able to really dive into that because that's what's missing in my opinion. I go to surf competitions and I see all these kids who are phenomenal, who are never going to be seen. They're just not. You have a pretty good chance in the surf industry that you can surf until in surfing, you can surf until you're in your 80s. But getting to that next level, you have to be seen. In baseball, there's scouts. Football, there's scouts. There's camps you can go to. I was going to baseball and football camps early on. There's really, other than social media, there's really not much. Yes, you can go to competitions. Yes, you can be seen. But outside of that, there's really not much you can do besides social media. And that's what we want to try to help bring. To help people see, hey, you kooks, you're destroying our way of life. You're helping these large corporations that just come in here and only care about turning a dollar. And this will be in many, many episodes. You will get to hear and see what I'm talking about, because I get to bring you an insight, because I have a business in the surf industry, and I have dealt with these very same things that are destroying the surf industry, creating products, having products stolen, the idea, altering it to where you can't really do anything. I know how much these things cost to be made. I know these things. I'm never going to slander another company, but I'm just going to tell the truth. With the price gouging and the markups, the whole shebang. There are a lot of good companies out there who do not do that. There is a price point etiquette in any business industry that you're a part of, but with surfing, it's the worst sport to be in when it comes to cost. I mean, unless you've got big sponsors, unless you're loaded, it's a real disadvantage to the sport and to people trying to get in it. That's not the case everywhere. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's astronomically out of control. It is astronomically out of control with some of these big corporations. It absolutely is. You know, yes, government plays a part in it. Whatever's happening in the world does play a part of it. But as somebody who's built something, who understands price points, not just in the surf industry, just in general, that's another aspect of this we want to bring to the whole thing. And then as we grow and get bigger, like I said, I have 48 episodes, 6 months worth of episodes. So we're going to touch on a lot of things, and it's going to be fun. It's not going to be, all gloom and doom. It's just going to introduce you to what we deal with, the things that we go through. And you'll quickly see I don't pick sides. I do. I pick right. There's right and wrong. And I will, even if it throws me under the bus, my kids under the bus, I don't care. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And, if I come across it and I think it's wrong morally, then you can believe I'm going to say something. But I'm going to be respectful about it. We're actually doing pretty good. In my other shows, I tend to wander off and trail off and talk about different topics and stuff like that. And wish y'all could see my screen. I've got, on the left side of my screen, everything I'm live streaming on, who's saying what, who's watching, the controls, everything. And then on my right, I got my timer and my talking points. And, this has been a very fun learning experience getting this going. And I'm excited that you guys are going to go on this journey with us. Because when I started my company, this is not the direction I thought I was going to go. I didn't even want to start, just to fill you in. I created the Blue Wave Surf Wax Bag. Madison, are you still down here?
Yeah.
Can you go get your wax bag out of the boardroom? Thank you. I'll actually show y'all. I thought I brought it out here, but oops. When I created that, the whole idea was to sell it, to sell the rights to it, because I did not want to do another business. Like I said, I've helped run several trucking companies. I've run a couple of private security companies for myself, help other people. I've been, I don't want to say a business analyst, but I've helped people see what they could clean up with their business and stuff. Thank you. All right, go. This right here. This is my baby. This is my creation. The original one was black, and it's insulated. Hey, look who's in there. The Foxy Wax. I'm telling you guys, Foxy Wax is some good stuff, man. I'll talk about that here in a minute. It's insulated. When I created this, there was nothing like it on the market. Nothing. There were plastic little totes made by a couple of other companies. There were literally Tupperware ones that were made by another company. Um, they don't work. It's Tupperware. It's you might as well take the thing out of your kitchen, put your wax in it, and take it to the beach. And I looked online. There was some leather, but it was literally for like fins and stuff like that. And who takes leather to the beach? It's salt water, seriously. And so when I put all that together and created it, I was like, I really do not want to build another business. I wanted to move to Florida to relax, to fix my health issues. I've got a lot of them. You see me in the water, you see my posts, you see me surfing, but that comes at a high price. I've had 2 major back surgeries, no thanks to the VA. It took a car wreck to get that squared away because the VA kept denying it. I'm currently in a court hearing. I already had it last year. I'm waiting for the judge to give his ruling on that, but I'll hit on that later. I've been diagnosed with neuropathy. My back is shot. My knees are shot. My knees pop out of place, which means you've got your fibula and your tibula that connect at your knee. And then, oops, so sorry. That means they do this. And so that they actually come apart. And if you've ever watched football, you'll see people that happens to. It's because those ligaments are shot. And they'll actually pop their, you'll see it. I was in a Cowboy game a couple years ago. I think it was Byron Jones. You did it, and bam. And that used to happen to me regularly, multiple times a day. But I've worked on myself. Like I said, I've neuropathy. I'm fighting to get diagnosed for TBI. It's all there. Why do I fight? Because I want it on record, so just in case my brain goes kaput, it's documented. Because quite frankly, and right now we're kind of in that personal, segment where talk about my life and then talk about how surfing has saved my life outside of the Lord. And so if you're like, well, what's this got to do with the talk show? This is just getting to know me. Hence, introduction. I've got some eye issues, heart issues, lung issues. I actually have growths in my lungs. And I was just messed up. Uncle Sam did not take care of me when I got out of the Army, nor did he take care of me when I was in. When I was in, it was, you don't go to sick call. And I was infantry, light infantry at that. And I'm from probably the last of the old school generational infantrymen. Which again, that's a whole different subject if I ever touch on it. But with that being said, there's no excuse for anybody to say they can't surf. You can't even say you're a paraplegic, because I've seen paraplegics surf. I've seen, I'm saying this as nice as possible, morbidly obese people surf. I've seen people missing a leg surf. Severe mental, can't say what we used to say, mentally disabled individuals surf. So there's legit no reasons why you can't surf. I'm going to use myself as an example because it's me, so I can pick on myself. When I started surfing, when we moved here a couple years ago, I think I was 245. I think I'd gotten under the 250 mark, because I'd be in infantry, seeing the things I've seen, doing the things that I've done. Depression is depression. You get it, you get over it, you move on, you man up. However, for several years, probably most of my adult life, once I left the Army, to once we moved here, I was never happy with where I lived. So I was always consistently in that kind of state of depression, but not after I ran for politics, after my military service was slandered, after me as a person was slandered, my faith was slandered, my family was attacked, my friends were attacked. I mean, I had a friend at my house that had his brake lines cut at my house because he knew me. I slipped into a deep depression. We moved South Texas to spend some time with my family, specifically my grandmother, because we knew her days were numbered. We didn't know how many more years, weeks. It's just she had beaten cancer 3 times. And this is in the middle of COVID. We all know what that did to our elderly, and we won't hit on it. We're going to stay as politically neutral as we can with this show, unless it's something of the fact of allowing boys and girls surfing. That I will never waver from. Don't care. Don't care if it costs me sponsors or viewers, quite frankly. I really don't. I digress. But when we were in South Texas, it was bad. I've been fighting with the VA since I really started fighting them in 2015. I'd been in and out of the VA system since I got out in 2008, but I didn't really start fighting them until 2015, and that got me in a big depression. Huge. I blew up. I was off and on all kinds of medications trying to help with the health issues, the neuropathy, the heart, everything, cognitive issues, the whole shebang. And I blew up. I got 250 pounds. I mean, all of a sudden I'm having kidney stones. I'd never had a kidney stone a day in my life. And then when we moved here, surfing outside of the Lord Jesus saved my life. It brought me some peace. It gave me something to fight for. When I first started it, I took some surf lessons from a surf shop that everybody knows. Yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. I love all the surf shops, but we're just going to leave it at that. Got some surf lessons from a guy from a surf shop, little down south-ish. And it was pretty miserable, but it gave me something to aim for once again. Because like I said, I bodybuilding, weightlifting, sports, I needed something that I could something to get me out of my rut. And so when I picked up surfing, I realized, okay, you have the knowledge to get back in shape especially for food wise, working out, you know what you need to do. You have the background to do it. So get it done. And then my daughter started doing it. So then I really had to get better at it. So once I realized that I was hooked, I mean, for recovering drug addicts, you'll understand. It was like a drug. Alcoholics, you'll understand. It hooked me. The clarity, the calmness, the at peace. I didn't care if I ever caught a wave. As long as I could paddle out and get out and then sit on my board, I was happy. Because I learned real quickly where to sit in the lineup, where I belonged, where my place was. I wasn't going to be that guy that paddled out right in the middle. And there's time or two when I did it, and I didn't realize I was doing it. I paddled right through the surf zone instead of paddling out and around. But I quickly did my homework and figured out, oh, crap. And I don't know if it's because I'm a bigger guy in general, but, you see a fatty on a board. Most people aren't going to say anything. There are a few that will. But it gave me something to look forward to. And that's what surfing can do. It literally pulled me I mean, moving here did it also. Being near the ocean did it also. Turn that back down. You turned it back up because I can hear it. Thank you. So, sorry about that. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but in my headphones, I can hear it. And so, get back on track. So moving to Florida helped. Being clean air helped. Being near the ocean helped. But getting in that water, it does something to you. I could be having the worst day possible, and I haven't really had any bad days since I've moved to Florida, especially here. But if my son was acting like a fool or just whatever, I literally could just go paddle out and just sit there. That's what surfing does. Surfing changes you. You've heard me say earlier that, my biblical standpoints, and my belief system, nothing will ever come before that. Hey, you know what? I take cold showers, so I can see. I can see how, because sometimes, man, every now and then I do like a hot shower. I really do. But I prefer, sorry, my wife is cooking. I was going to do it when we were done. I don't know if y'all can hear that. But I can understand it, just being in the water in general. I mean, some people are willing and able. I don't know if dude, I just now took off my wetsuit today and I was still cold, and it was like 85 here. The water still felt cold to me. So, hey, whatever it takes to get out in that water and get that healing. But what I was getting at earlier is I have my principles, and I will never put anything before it. I don't, a lot of things that come with surfing, yoga, and if you just do the stretches, that's fine. But if you actually know the history of yoga, I stay away from yoga. I want nothing to do with it. I will never promote it. I will promote stretching. But if you actually, and see, that's the problem when you have background like I have. I sit and study law, for Pete's sake. The new laws that come out in Florida, I read, I study. And so if I'm going to be a part of something, I'm going to read and study it. I'm going to look at the history. I'm going to look at what it actually stands for, what it meant. And so I'm very conscious about that. I'm not dogging on anybody for it, but that's just where I stand. I have my line in the sand and I don't cross it. But that's the beautiful thing about surfing, because guess what? There's all kinds of different people in the water. Legit. There's people that struggle with all kinds of things that go out in the water. There's people that don't believe in anything and go out in the water. There's people that, worship rocks. You let your imagination run. There's all kinds of people in the water. The beautiful thing about surfing is, guess what? All the BS, all the drama, everything gets left on the beach. Everything. You had a bad day, guess what? Leave it on the beach. You had a good day, guess what? Leave it on the beach. You don't bring it out in the water. The only thing you bring out in the water is kindness, respect, and you better be ready to save somebody and or step in if somebody's being overly aggressive, because it does happen. But that's what surfing, for me, that's what surfing does. And the funny thing about it is I don't know if he's watching, but there's a guy, I'll say it, Chris. I couldn't stand him when I first started surfing in the lineup. I could not stand him one bit. Now, it's a different story. He's been repping for us. He is one of my biggest supporters when it comes to giving us shout outs. And it wasn't that I didn't like him, not because I didn't know him. I didn't like his body language, but that's because I didn't know him as a person. I didn't fully understand the surf life, what it does. And once I grasped that, I realized he's just out there. He's been surfing his whole life. He's one of, there's a hierarchy. Even if you're, unless you're top dog and you're 21 years old, there is a pecking order. You got to give respect to the old locals. You got to give respect to your elders. I'm a Grom to somebody. My daughter's a Grom to me. I didn't fully understand. That being said, there are some people that are just too overly aggressive and need to be taken down a peg or two. But with all that being said, that's me. That's who I am. I love the surf industry. I want to help bring a new insight, a new view, a new revolution to our local surf community and just surfing in general. I'm super excited. We've got some partners. I've got them up on the screen. I've got some other people that have shown some interest, and they've been around me. They've seen the work I've been putting in and still putting in for the past 4 years. Because I am the new guy on the block. I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here. And that's just what you got to deal with. And that's fine. It's cool. Let's do this. But let's do this together. The next thing I'm going to say, because I'm gonna make sure I don't take too long. The next thing I'm going to say is we do have sponsorship tiers. It's on all of our social media platforms. We're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. I am on TikTok. I can't go live on TikTok. They'll let me do it for gaming off my phone or use their media setup, but I can't do it like what I'm doing now. So if you can share and like, even if you can't afford to donate, I will never turn anybody away that says, hey, I've got $1 or $2. That's all I can do. Hey, come on. I'll still give you a shout out. We'll still work together. But if you can't, like, follow, share. It is very vital. It is very important for our growth for you to do that. There's a lot of community programs out here that I want to get involved with, that I want to start live streaming and showing you guys, special needs communities, the foster care communities that are involved in the surf industry, the surf life, and I want to bring that to you guys. I do want to say the next episode we're going to start with one of the most important things a surfer needs to understand are the rules in the lineup and surf etiquette. That's what we're going to touch on the second episode. After that, I'll give you a 2-episode head start. Episode 2 is going to be surf rules and lineup etiquette. Let me go to the third. I haven't separated. Oh, that's episode 7. Episode 2, surf lineup and etiquette. Surf 3, competition rules. So for those 2, I'm not going to dive too much into it. We're still going to keep it chill. We're still going to keep it relaxed. But for my new surfers, for my parents that are watching that their kids are in the water and they don't understand why certain things happen, I'm going to break that down to you. And if you have, and that's going to be the perfect time if you have questions about those things. Now, we're not talking WSL. We're not talking, NSSA, like major, USA surfing, major stuff. This is young, my daughter's age, between 5 and 10 years old. If your kid's above those ages, they should know surfing. If you're watching the show and your kids have been surfing since they were little. Now, if you're new to surfing and you don't know these things, I have no problem explaining it to you. I'm just going to go over some light rules, nothing crazy. Some people wonder why their kid got on a wave but didn't get a score, or so on and so forth. So I'm going to break those down from what I've picked up, what I've learned, what I've studied, because I've downloaded, I'll just use ours. I've downloaded ESA's rules and regulations and scoring guidelines. When you surf these competitions, the judges tell you anyways. So I'm not going to be saying things that aren't true or that I haven't heard firsthand. And the etiquette, again, it's going to be what I've studied, what I've learned from personal experience also. So with that being said, I would like to end this with thank you so much, ESA Central Division, for allowing us to live stream your last event. We are so looking forward to the next event. They do have an awards banquet coming up. Let me get to that real quick so I can give you the exact date. Let's see. It is the 2025 ESA Central Florida End of Season Awards Party. It is at the Drift House Surf and Skate Shop at 350 North Orlando Avenue, Cocoa Beach, Florida. 32931, March 29th, 2026. It says 2025 on it. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be the District Awards presentation recognizing first and second place finishers. There's going to be food, big raffles. There's going to be a lot of fun games. This is a family-oriented organization. At least our division is. I can speak for the South Division also. I don't know about the North Florida. They're all great. North, Central, and South are all phenomenally ran. Good people with kids at heart. And most of the parents, most of us are gonna, make sure everybody's safe. It's probably one of the safest places to be is at a surf competition that's run by like ESA, Gnarly Charlie. There's several others. Space Coast Sports Riders I've been a part of, and supporting Treasure Coast. They run a pretty tight knit group. And a big shout out to the East Coast Grand Tour, Mr. Phil, the Belly Slater. Again, another phenomenal organization to get a part of. None of them sponsor us. It's just organizations that I've been a part of. I've put my money into. I put my daughter into. And so if I give a shout out in that sense, it's all going to be from personal experience. None of them sponsor me, and that's okay. I love what they're doing. And that's what this industry needs to be more about, is helping other businesses and partnering and growing. It said I got a message. I was trying to read it. And then next, right now, our two sponsors, Foxy Wax, phenomenal wax, pure organic. We're going to have an episode just on the wax industry, the rules, regulations, and the lack thereof, and what wax can do by sitting on it, smelling it, the whole shebang. And then Prince Boards, he is a painter, and then he also makes custom boards. He's in Another Ride Surf Shop, and phenomenal. Madison, go get your board real quick. My daughter's sponsored by Another Ride and Prince. They came together. Your skateboard, baby. They came together and presented her a board, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful artwork. She rides for Ricky Carroll. And actually, so Another Ride, they make their own boards too. Their Hippo series, and they have a couple of other. That was actually my second personal custom board. I had a GNS made, but I'm full-fledged Ricky Carroll now. I love Ricky Carroll's surfboards. I love Ricky Carroll as a man. His crew that he has with him, they were the first, besides Another Ride Surf Shop, but they were the first pretty big company around here that gave us a platform to be a part of. Let's see if you guys can see this. Amazing artwork made by Prince. Another Ride. Just I know nothing about skateboards. Nothing. I know paint. I know artwork. And I know enough. I know enough to know if I'm getting a good product. And I'm telling you, it's a good product. They've got it's amazing. All hand done. Amazing artwork. So if you get a chance, I will post some links to Foxy Wax and to Prince in the comment sections. and in the video when I go through and edited stuff. So you can go follow them, like, support, because we're all small businesses and we all got to stick together. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Our next episode will be Thursday, pending something happening, or if I get enough feedback saying, hey, Thursdays don't work for us. But I don't want to do Wednesdays because that's church night. I don't want to do Fridays because I don't want to take it away from y'all. So right now, as it is, it's going to be Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I will post as we get bigger. The surf competitions we're a part of right now, we are just solely focusing on ESA Central Division. Other than that, you guys have a blessed night. If you have any questions, anything you want me to touch on, do not be scared to ask. Shoot me a message, leave a comment. I run all social media platforms, so it will get read and I will respond. Thank you for tuning in to Next Set Live.